All right. Thank you very much for joining our interview. Thank you for coming here, Adi.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm very happy that we have you as a finance major student because I know you're a very great student. So yeah, could you briefly introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Adi Garg. I'm a senior here at Rutgers. I'm majoring in finance and minoring in history. This past summer, I had the opportunity to work at Jefferies, which is an investment bank. So I lived in New York City. I worked in technology investment banking, and I'm also a TA here at Rutgers for investment analysis and operations management.
Oh wow. All right, thank you. That was great. So my first question is, you're a finance major student. What was the reason why you chose finance as your major?
Yeah, so when I first came to Rutgers, I was actually a business analytics declared major. Then I took my first programming class and realized that that was not going to be it for me. So then I kind of went like a year without declaring a major. I took an accounting course, which I really enjoyed. I really liked the more quantitative aspect to it and kind of the more trying to understand how money works, how money flows through a company, how investors try and look at money and stuff like that. But I thought accounting was a little bit very straightforward, not as much creative thinking. So I thought I'll try a finance class. I enjoyed my introduction to financial management, and then taking a couple more higher level finance classes, I kind of decided that this is something I enjoyed. Along with taking finance internships, what you do in the classroom and what you do in real life is very different. It's important to make sure you try and get internships early on so you can not only find out what you like, but also what you don't like. So I think the combination of those higher level classes and then summer internships really helped me set my sights on finance.
Wow, that's great. So it seems like you had an internship early career during your college years, so that you kind of found out that you have the interest in finance, and then you just move on with finance major.
Yeah, so I did internships every summer after freshman year, and I think it was really helpful just being able to get that real world experience, but also just learning what you like and what you don't like. So that way, every summer afterwards in every school, you can kind of focus yourself on what you learn that you're newly interested in, or something that I thought something was like this, but it's actually like this, and I don't want to do this later on in my life.
Yeah, I think a lot of people questions about whether you said you did internship every summer,
Yeah.
right? And people think that if they're in freshman year or sophomore year, it's pretty hard to get internships. Do you have any take on that?
Yes, so the most valuable thing with internships is just having the experience. You don't need to work at a Google or a Goldman Sachs your freshman year, and you're very, very unlikely to be. So you have to be realistic. I worked at a small startup company my freshman year summer, and I found it very valuable because I got to learn what it was like to work at a startup company, what startup culture was like, and also got to learn a lot about finance. And working at a smaller company, I got direct exposure to a lot of higher level people. I was working with the controller, with the CFO, etc. So it really allowed me to get a really, really deep dive into what finance looks like, and it helped me grow as I was going throughout college, keeping that experience with me. So I think it's just about applying, making sure you're constantly going to networking events, trying to make connections, and then basically just be willing to understand that you're not going to start off with a really big name internship. And it's okay, everyone has to start from somewhere, so just willing to accept that and take it as a learning opportunity. And for all you know, there's people who always work in startup, they just really like that culture, they like that environment. And so, yeah, it's really important, I think, just to take what you can get and then learn from it. And everything's a learning opportunity.
Yeah, that's very cool. I think a lot of people have questions about networking, because in business school, I think including every single major you find at Rutgers, I think business school is probably the one that really emphasize on having a good network. We had internships, but also future jobs. What were your strategies networking with people and getting connections?
So I'm naturally a pretty introverted person. So my freshman year, I definitely made the mistake of not trying to connect with people enough, not trying to go to networking events, etc. But then, I also kind of lost a year due to COVID. But during COVID, I tried to expand my network a lot more, going to online networking events, trying to go to when companies have seminars at colleges. Just go and attend. You learn a lot. You get to meet people at the company. You get to meet some more of your peers who you might not necessarily meet. And you have to try and understand that no one is really comfortable with networking right away. That's something that took me a while to understand. And it's important to put yourself out there and try your best. And yes, their first few times are not going to be amazing, but every time you'll slowly get better at it. Just force yourself to do and understand that you will get better at it and will become more comfortable. And it's really about putting yourself out there. Don't feel nervous. Go to a job fair your freshman year, even if you've only been in college for 1 month. Go to the different events a company holds. You can at least meet the recruiters. You can meet some people who work there. You can learn about what they do. And that's kind of how you grow your network. It starts off very small, but then slowly you'll see, like, after 2 or 3 years, wow, you suddenly have like a really large network in a lot of different companies. You learned a lot about different people. And yeah, that's really it. Just put yourself out there and just be willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, I think, as you said, it's really important to start small, right?
Yeah.
So start small means you actually even have to begin to start, right? If you
Yeah.
don't even begin to start, there is no result of having small or big because there is no progress, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of
Absolutely.
people tend to worry a lot and not really putting into action. But as long as you keep making little steps to get to the point where you want to get, I think that's the important part of growing up. It's a big part of making your networking skills and get the connections that you need.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is just freshman year, as soon as you get to college, just force yourself, go to the first career fair in September, October. It's a great way to step out of your comfort zone. There's a lot of people there, and it's kind of low pressure on you. You're only a freshman. Most of these career fairs are really designed, I'll say, for juniors and seniors for those junior year internships and full-time experience. So if you just take it as a practicing opportunity, practice how to do an elevator pitch, how to like present yourself in 60 seconds. You can give out your resume, we learn how to polish that up a bit. From there, it becomes much easier once you learn those basic skills to just move forward once you have that starting point. Once you get a base down, it can only go up. But the hardest part is just taking that first step forward.
Yeah, let's talk about your internship.
Okay.
You said you interned at Jefferies, and I heard it's one of the biggest investment banking company out there.
Yes.
What was your role in that internship, and what was your take on from that internship?
Yeah, so I worked in the technology division at Jefferies. I was a summer investment banking analyst. So after junior year, I entered as a summer analyst at Jefferies. And it was a really, really amazing experience. I'm going back there full time after graduation.
Wow.
I mean, investment banking, if you don't know, basically, investment banking provides services to other companies. So the main activities investment banks do is work with companies on M&A, which is mergers and acquisitions. If you've heard of Comcast, bought NBC Universal, so that was a merger. So an investment bank would help out with that. They would help either side working on valuation, how are we going to fund the takeover. They also do IPOs. That's when a stock goes on to a stock exchange for the first time. So you might be aware of like Robinhood had their IPO 2 years ago. So that's when they debut on New York Stock Exchange. The third thing is capital restructuring. So when companies look to change the amount of debt versus equity they have. So investment banks really help out in that area. As much as it's a quantitative role, as much as it is a qualitative role, you're really trying to help your clients understand what's going on, put together a lot of presentations, a lot of Excel spreadsheets. But it's essentially just helping clients navigate through their financial situations and helping them understand what's going on and creating the best possible outcome for them.